Good morning and welcome to Beyond the Lines podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Watson, on this wonderful Tuesday. It is Tuesday, and we're just going to check the sound and make sure everything's good. I hope everybody's having a great day. Thank you for joining me. We have a few things to discuss. Like and subscribe, as they say. We're also streaming or I'll be uploading the video to YouTube, so we'll see how that goes. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. This is a sort of gloomy day, the weather, where we're going from nice weather. The fall is very beautiful, though, depending upon where you live. We get to have all the four seasons here, so it's so beautiful taking that monotonous drive that we do just about our day, taking kids here and there, going through the trees in the forest, and it's a very beautiful time because we get to see all the colors and the leaves fall as they may, and it's just a really nice time until all the leaves are gone and they dry and pretty much take us out from, about a month from now, all the way until about February, March-ish, so where we're all hanging on, ready for then the rain to come and then finally the sun to come, and we just keep doing it all over again. We do it all over again. So that's why we're here. We get the weather, but we're here for our family, but we get the weather as it comes. It's hot, it's cold, keeps us on our toes. So we're going to do a little bit of a No Kings debrief today. So we're going to see how that works. I hope everybody enjoyed our last show with our very special guest. Please check that out if you haven't already caught it. Appreciate that. I think that you'll like it. I know I certainly did. I know we got a lot of really good feedback on that. So please check it out. I'm going to play some music here while I do some, they took, I was going to say, what kind of music did they leave me with here? I'm going to play some music as I do a little bit of admin stuff because I just want to make sure everything is set up here as we do some screen sharing. Also, please feel free to ask any questions or comment. I am going to see if the StreamYard's working where I can just pop it into the comment below. So like the good old days. I don't know if I lost that ability, but we'll see. No kings, no kings. What does that even mean? What does no kings even mean? We're all trying to put it together. We're trying to figure it out. Let's go over to Mike Benz's page. Mike Benz was, I believe, in DC at the time of the No Kings protest. So I guess we'll just round it up for everybody that wasn't. That may have missed you may have missed it completely. You may have just blinked, and it may not even pass your radar, and which is very possible. And probably you're better for it, I would say, probably. But so back in what was it, May? They did they rolled out this concept of no kings. And then I think that was maybe they did one in April. I'm making this up. I can't recall exactly, but I feel like my memory without looking at it online. Maybe April there was a no kings thing, and then there was the hands off. Remember that one? The hands off. And then there was another no kings in I think June or July, but this one was the big one. And rumor has it that that because there's a federal shutdown right now, they call it the Schumer shutdown. And there's controversy, just to be fair. There is a controversy over who is responsible for the shutdown, right? The Republicans say it's the Democrats' fault. The Democrats say it's the Republicans' fault. And we cover this also in one of our previous shows here, where we had Congresswoman Kat explain why the bill that had been voted on it had been voted on a few times, and then the Democrats changed it. So this is a standoff. It takes two to tango. And we're also seeing that actually on a state level, because our state budget hasn't been passed yet. Anyway, if anybody has any questions or comments or want to jump in on that, I know that people are concerned about the benefits, but I know that other people are not concerned because of how the mechanisms work and how benefits are distributed, and sort of the politics, right, that are going on. So you have Democrats saying, using this as an opportunity. I know our governor in the state of Pennsylvania is using it as an opportunity to throw Republicans under the bus and say, oh, this is all Republicans. But at the same time, it's actually, again, a standoff. And so it takes two to do that. And so this is what we're experiencing. And, one theory is that if we're relying less on the federal government, then the state should be providing these things. And so then to become sustainable as a state, right, to really be looking at those things. And that's what I think a Trump presidency represents to many people, is to cleaning that up. And then also that's why Doge was so popular, because it was really going in there and doing an audit of all of these different programs that have become so bloated. I digress. No kings, right? No kings. So anyway, so the branding has been no kings, and there was speculation that the Democrats wanted to keep the government lockdown, the Fed lockdown, the federal government lockdown, until after this the no kings protests were over. And also what I suggested was that it was good timing on behalf of the diplomatic efforts of the Trump administration and the peace plan and all the things, because for that to resolve in the way that it did, and it still is, before the protests. And so it's really just sort of looking at the demographic of the people who gathered, and understanding that it's obviously not a grassroots. There are organic people. There's a lot of narratives going around. And if I had my whiteboard, we could, I guess, go over them in a really nice, clear fashion. So, but there's a lot of different narratives going around, right? So but it's like information is moving quickly. So for example, people really got to understand that protests are not entirely organic. So I think on a good note, people are understanding. And again, if you follow XF's work about color revolutions, and he has coined the term long time ago, astroturfing, that is used in the language now very much so. I just saw the Gateway Pundit share an article about astroturfing. So it's plastic grass, essentially. It's not organic. So a lot of people understand, and especially those from the so-called left, or the historic left, understand the organization that is involved in protests, that they are not organic, that they don't just manifest, that people don't just show up. People are paid, but that doesn't mean that everyone's paid. So I would see this seemingly flex by Democratic Party influencers and content producers interviewing people, are you paid to be out here? Like they were doing some sort of citizen journalism, right? That, hey, are you paid to be out here? And people would be like, no, of course I'm not paid. Okay. Not everybody's paid. We know. We know not everybody's paid. And the whole thing about it is that, of course, not everybody's paid. Of course, there are many people that go, probably the majority of people show up because they are, and I've watched videos, and as I'm sure you can as well. And I'd like to give a shout out, thank you to my old teacher, Miss Marianne Williamson, because she was doing a lot of really good interviews. And I thought that those were very authentic. And I think that people very spoke from the heart. And I think that it really gives us a good lesson in sociology and psychology for these things as well, and helps us to understand where people are coming from, but also what drives people, what people think and what people believe and what motivates people, even if they're wrong. So, so not everybody is paid. A lot of people aren't paid again, but there is organization that's involved, that you print signs, you print postcards, you do a lot of marketing ahead of time, right? We saw a lot of marketing ahead of time that this was going to be the big day. And then, of course, the Trump administration through Senator, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, he picked it up. And some of the messaging on like the Heather Cox Richardson side was saying, responding to what Mike Johnson was saying about the rally, about the protests. And so we covered all this. You can go back in the shows and you can see that Richardson and Freeman were doing a thing where they were saying, oh, they're so worried about this protest, that's why they're telling people not to go. And our stance has always been, you don't have to tell people not to go, they're not going to go anyway. That this is, it's a flop. It's already a flop, because it's called No Kings, because it's not based in anything that's actually based in realistic advocacy for something specific that historically protests aim to achieve. Not to mention what you see in like other countries with color revolutions, not what you've seen in our own country, the protests that we've seen over the years in our own country, but labor organizations that are advocating for a specific bill, a specific change, a specific movement, where they can again coalesce around this one message. And it's not surprising that the one message that they are coalescing around is a message of Trump derangement syndrome, because that's what they all agree on. Okay. That they are very unhappy. So the Speaker of the House, Johnson, he would say this is an anti-American protest. And I would actually argue that it's not a hate America protest. I would say that a number of the people that I watched, I got the sense from what they said and how they said it, that they do like America and they do love America. And they don't want their America to change and their perception of their democracy. And they don't want that to change. And they're afraid, based on all the propaganda that they've been receiving from legacy media, Richardson, these Substack accounts, Facebook as well. They do not want... They are being fed this information that they are going to be losing things, rights, their country, democracy, all of these things, which we have debunked time and time again here. As I would assume, maybe if you're watching, you could also debunk as well. So they coalesce around this, that they just are very unhappy with him. There is very inappropriate what he's doing. A lot of it's associated around ICE, but it's, again, I think it's this projection of these sort of underlying subculture ideas that they don't actually always want to say overtly, but that they feel as though, because they do follow the propaganda that's related to Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation, removing women's rights to vote. They're worried about that. They just don't, they are very concerned about all of that. And it's like watching Richardson, I cannot decide if we have authoritarianism, if we have fascism, if it's rising authoritarianism, if we have to stop it before it comes. People are very confused about what the word fascism means and what it is. And we may actually even get to play a clip here if I can find it, courtesy of somebody who's on the ground doing some stuff, just interviewing people, talking to people. So let's just go straight to, so anyway, so I don't know if that summed it up. If anybody has a better summary of what it is. Anyway, so it's not, so the idea of it is that, is it meant to be a flop? Okay. Oh, I should play that one clip. I'll have to find it. Maybe that'll be the next show of it is what's his name from Texas? I forget. Anyway, the group Indivisible, you can just look it up. They have chapters, they have organizations, they do like LGBTQ plus stuff and other things. And they organize the No Kings protests and the funding sources and all of that stuff. And so when you look and see that it's a heavily funded, no, not everybody's paid to be a protester. Are some people paid? Yes. Is everybody paid? No. Is it an organized thing where people are paid to organize it and to show up and to create energy and to get people together? Absolutely. Absolutely. And so Indivisible is related to that. And so it's almost like, is it a campaign fundraiser? You know? And so that's why they knew that going into it, they knew that the No Kings is a wonky concept, and they knew that everybody was going to be. So then you have people out on the street, regular people who do care about their country, I would say. I don't agree with just some of the things that people say is obviously horrific. Right. You've seen all the videos. So, but then you have these people out there that then have to defend. This is like some weird experiment, because then they have to defend this concept. Like, tell us why you're out here today. Oh, well, I'm out here today because I don't believe in kings. Like, they're set up to look dumb, you know, to people that aren't there. The people that get it were there. Is there another group of people that get it but weren't there? Sure. But then to the majority of everybody else, because Trump won the popular vote, the majority of everybody else can see it for what it is. And so that's why it just, the marketing of it, they're going to just roll with it. And it's sort of, you know, I do feel sort of bad if they weren't trying to do all the nefarious things that they're doing. I would feel bad. Okay, let's go to Mike Benz, and because he had a video, he recorded a video from the protests on Saturday.
I just think this is so funny. So it's like the ending scene from The Sopranos out here. I just think this is so funny. USA leading it, baby. It's like the ending scene from The Sopranos out here.
So funny. Okay. All right. So we're going to stop sharing that, and then we're going to go to the place in here while I find it. Oh. So this is Mike's page also. Now, this is a post that he shared on Saturday, and it says that he shared somebody else's post. What's his name? Andy NGO. The terror Antifa propaganda site, quote, "It's going down," has officially announced it will be shutting down. This coincides with the Trump administration's crackdown on organized crime within Antifa networks. Over the years, It's Going Down has posted numerous claims of responsibility for domestic terrorist attacks, including an attempt by an Antifa militant to derail a train, which led to the website being mentioned in a federal criminal complaint. The website has also posted manuals on carrying out crimes and evading detection for terrorist attacks. Right, but we've been told by the mainstream media, by legacy media, by Richardson, by Substack accounts, by Jimmy Kimmel, that Antifa is not real. Antifa is not real. It's not a thing. It's an adjective. It means anti-fascism. Antifa means anti-fascism. And who isn't against fascism? We're going to go to a clip by, let's see his name here. I don't have Telegram on here, but that would be actually the best thing for me, is to be able to do that, is to bring the Telegram up. Okay. It's gonna be worth it.
Thank you. This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. This is
Okay. All right. It's just I can't. Okay. So while I'm getting that other clip, we're just going to go to a friend of mine who actually shared on her Facebook page. She said, I'll actually read what she shared here. This is, let's see here. Okay. So she shared on her page this post, if you can see it here. And she wrote, I do not support Trump, but this. And she said, I'm so glad my family did not get the shots. It's crazy what has happened. We really walked around with masks that didn't work, and we stayed home. We had to attend church from our cars in a parking lot. The effect it had on mental health, especially these kids, what a crazy time to be alive. And this is what she posted, and it says, no kings, but put your mask on. No kings, but lock us down. No kings, but I'm firing you for not vaccinating. No kings, but you can't go outside. No kings, but we don't accept your exemption. No kings, but you need 1,200 boosters. No kings, but we're shutting your businesses down. You can't worship the real king. No kings, but your family members will die alone. No kings, but I'm opening a hotline so you can tattle on your neighbor. No kings, but mandates galore. No kings, but you're responsible for my health. No kings, but social distance at 6 feet apart. No kings, but no family gatherings over 10. The hypocrisy is astounding. Who is actually the tyrant here? And I think that is a good testament that we're all sentiment and testament that we're all wondering of that. Why is it being rolled out onto us that we need to protest having a king when we all just experienced, all of this actual tyranny? And in fact, this, like in our state, our governor, if you lived in a blue state, or if you had a Democratic governor, they were doing things that, under the guise of public health, right? But the problem is that now all of this information is coming out about that time. And it's been coming out, and a lot of people knew it at the time, and that's why everybody was very resistant to it, because it was like, but wait a second, you're not giving us enough information to justify what it is that you're doing. You don't have our consent, right? You don't have our consent to be doing these things, going around the law, actually, which is actually tyrannical. So that's why I'm just curious about the phrase of the no kings, because again, it's like most people who were here and still have a memory, remember that we actually did experience authoritarianism. And fascists did actually do all those things. Told us we couldn't worship, closed churches, closed businesses, right? Said that our kids couldn't go to school. They could only go to school if they covered their face, which is actually a violation of the state constitution, prohibiting the breathing of a child. It's almost like they didn't think it through. You know what I mean? It's almost like they just went for the thing and they didn't really consider all the thing. So everybody that wants to talk about problem, reaction, solution, I think that they really did not plan for so many people to react the way that they did. And this is clearly revealing itself to be a huge mess, isn't it? Right? And we're still in the midst of course, an interrelated conflict inside the United States. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it with this continued divisive language, pushing these narratives and these stories within these isolation chambers of information to where people actually genuinely, truly seem to believe these things about Trump and the Trump administration. And that's sort of just what we're working through. Again, we're toggling between being a witness to this and then sort of just sharing this information in our own experience, sharing our own voices and being a testament to our own experiences. And so that's the plan here, because there's a lot of really good, positive things that are happening. And just watching it all across the board with just the opportunities in peace in the Middle East, and just the thread of just every single day there being something new, and yet something that's been building, So let me see if I can pull up this from this kid that I just out there on the street. Out there on the streets. The Black conservative preacher is another one that I follow on Facebook. If anybody follows him, he is on the ground in Portland. I think he covered things a few years ago. So is this? Yeah, I think this is the one. So you can look him up on Facebook if you're on. Oh, here we go. Oh, it doesn't go any bigger. Sorry, y'all. It's as big as it goes. But I'll include the link for it from his page.
So I have a biracial son whose father's from Nicaragua, who both are here legally, and I am greatly, greatly upset about what is going on. He has been targeted for years now. Now it's even worse. He had to move out of this city and go to another city, and he did this before a RICO street, and I am glad he did, or he'd be taken on the street and deported with a legal status.
So I'm sorry that the media has tried convincing you.
No, Trump has convinced the media. Trump has convinced them. Trump has convinced the trumpets. Trump needs to go now.
Okay.
And if you're going to convince me otherwise, you're not.
I'm not trying to convince you. I'm trying to have a civil discussion.
Well, I'm not having no civil discussions about it.
I can tell.
Because I am passionate about this. I was born and raised to fight Martin Luther King. I believe in saving the Jews from the Holocaust. I believe in saving Gaza from the Israelis. I believe in world peace, global peace.
Sure.
This is not the way. And I am here non-violently. I am getting mad.
I know.
You are a Trumper. You do not belong on my side of this sidewalk. It's freedom of speech. But when I have an event, you have to be on the other side of the sidewalk. That is the way. Yes.
I can be on the sidewalk with
I can call my legal guy.
That's fine. This is a public sidewalk.
Yeah, but not when we have a permit. It's not.
You don't need a permit to be on a public sidewalk.
I have a permit to be here. So if
you don't
I have
to have a permit to be on a public sidewalk.
But we have one.
For an organized event, you're potentially impeding some traffic.
Yeah, but we're not impeding traffic. We're not in the street.
You just said people can't walk on this sidewalk. Foot traffic.
Yes, and they can walk on the sidewalk. They're walking.
So why can't I walk on this sidewalk?
Because you are at my event and you don't agree with my stuff. You cannot infiltrate my event near my ice cream tent.
Did you organize this event?
I did.
Okay, I have every right to be here just as you do.
Not on my event in my permit.
I do.
No.
I do.
No.
Respectfully, I do have every right to be here.
Are you a Trumper too?
Absolutely. Two, is there somebody else here who's a Trumper?
Yeah, you're running around talking to people.
I'm not running, I'm walking. Are you a Trump supporter?
Absolutely not.
Where's the other Trump
Please.
supporter? Where's the other one? Okay, we're all set here.
Okay. Okay. So some of the themes there that I've noticed, that first of all, getting a permit, that if you get a permit for a public property, if somebody is allowed, that doesn't exclude somebody from also peacefully exercising their right to be in a public space. And this seems to be, it had come up before in another video that I watched. I think her name is Kate's Unsafe Space, I think her name is. And she goes around, and she also had this issue where she was at a farmer's market that was on city property, right? It's a public event. So if it's a public event on public property, unless you're breaking a law, they can't just remove you because they don't like you or they don't want you there. And in this case, she was saying explicitly, like, you're not, I got a permit to be here. You're not allowed here because you don't agree with my stuff. And I'm not dismissing her anger and her frustration. And she said something that I agree with, which is that I want peace, right? I want world peace. But what does that mean? Because we've all been led down the world peace path of like, oh, this is what democracy looks like, right? We have to preserve democracy at home and abroad. We have to be global citizens, right? We have to give all of our tax money to go help other countries, right? So I also, ma'am, want world peace. But it seems that we're a little bit not on the same page about what's going on and sort of, how we get to world peace. Because in fact, our president, my president, your president, ma'am, is working on that, right? And you can agree with him on what he says about the 7 wars, the 8 wars that he has solved, right? But he has been actively doing diplomacy and unraveling the U.S. entanglements and working on bringing people together. XF said it really good, is that we've had this history of presidents and administrations speaking peace, but doing war. And now we live in this strange reality where we have a president and an administration who is talking war and doing peace. And so, yes, so ma'am, I agree with you that this is super frustrating and we want all of these things. And it's doesn't feel very good to feel helpless, right? But saying, Trump has got to go now, what are you suggesting, ma'am? And, kicking people off of public property and not being able to, they don't want to debate. They don't want to have that conversation. They don't want to come to a common meeting place, because there's a lot of this, it's almost like this age demographic, right? The Richardson audience, this age demographic, they learned that they can't trust everything on the internet. And they learned that they can't trust everything the media says. And they certainly have adopted the belief that they can't trust anything Donald Trump says. But then it's this weird thing that happens where they trust him when he is saying things about that they can mold him into being a dictator or a king. They trust him when he says those things. They trust him when he it seems to be putting, delegating, which he has every authority to do as the president, delegating power to, people that they don't agree with, like John Vogt. Or they want to make him into that whole thing with the Heritage Foundation, right? And but they don't trust him when he says that he wants to make America great again, right? And they don't trust him all the other things. So they want to pick and choose what they, right? So it's this whole hypocrisy of like, he's this dictator, he's this, authoritarian, right? But he's weak, right? He can't even, where is he? He hasn't been seen in public. Where is he? That was the whole thing, 2 weeks ago when they were trying to run this whole thing. Meanwhile, he was like, Netanyahu was doing the press conference the day before, and Richardson and Freeman were running with this thing of like, where is the president? He is MIA, while he was literally doing the peace plan, right? And so it's this just, no wonder people are confused. No wonder people are angry and feeling helpless, because they're being fed this information that they can't reconcile with, right? Because both things cannot be true. Or how can they be true? And if they are both true, then wow, that's even more of a mind fuck, then. So people have been activated because they are stuck in a mind space and it's almost like, I'm not 20 anymore. Newsflash, I'm not 20 anymore. But don't you sometimes, when you close your eyes, or you can be back in a time when you were younger, you just go right back there. And isn't that how so much of this seems to appear, is that people are stuck in this mindset, in this belief system, in this paradigm, in this reality that we are facing a crisis that is not actually happening. And do we all get a little bit of that in general? Absolutely, right? Because how could we not? We're watching, it's just the same way that you watch a movie or the television, like you're engaged in, right, a screen that is, you're buying into what it is that you're watching, and you're having to constantly do this discernment process where you're deciding, are you going to receive this information as being something that you believe, that you adopt, right? Or are you going to have to wrestle with that, right? And do that reconcile, right? It's just like when you have like an invoice and you have to put it in the thing, right? And you have to approve it and you have to reconcile it. So it's like, do you adopt it as something that you believe? Does it fit into your worldview? And what we're seeing here is this series of events and information and belief systems and people's experience all culminating into this moment where they are thinking that they're seeing something, that is not entirely true. And they're using these words, these buzzwords, that really trigger people and really activate people, like fascism, right? Like authoritarianism, dictator. I mean, but Richardson's been doing this for years. They've been doing this for years on Trump, right? Making Trump supporters out to be this thing, making MAGA out to be this thing, making it to be where two people can't even have a conversation because they can't even agree on the foundation. They can't even agree on the base reality, right? So, you have this majority of the population who is being made out to be like, because the Overton window has shifted so far that it's made out to be something that's not normal, but it's actually not just the most popular perspective, but it is the most normal. And it is the majority. It's Agenda 47, by the way. None of this is new. None of this is, oh, I didn't see this coming. Nobody's thinking that this is what people did not sign up for. I'm pretty sure everybody is clear, that nobody expected anything to be perfect. And then you have these little internet subculture things, where you see won't get into that too much here right now. Just the series of events, man, just like, just with Charlie Kirk, and just these series of events that have just, rocked people, and, just the issues that we face, and the actual threats that we face, and then the actual situations that we face, this thing about, even listening to Richardson talk about censorship, or even like, self-censoring, is so strange, because it's like, what do you think has been going on for most people? What do you think MAGA and MAHA is? What do you think has been going on for most people over the years? Persecuting political opponents. What? He's a fascist because he's persecuting his political opponents? First of all, do y'all really care about John Bolton? First of all. Second of all, y'all tried to impeach him twice. The first time over the Ukraine stuff. What? And now Zelensky's like, they have him positioned like the media's here, and he's like right in front of the media. And then you have, what's his name? Peter saying like, I'm not trying to broker an arms deal here, but what is going on? Hexas wearing Russian ties? Like, what is happening? And then Richardson's posting videos saying the tide is turning. Huh? What tide, ma'am? What tide is turning for you? Except the hit piece that we published, that we posted. We didn't publish it. We posted. We reshared a hit piece that Pirate Wire wrote about Heather Cox Richardson. And inevitably, it wasn't what I would have said necessarily, but they did make some really good points. So we're just curious, what that's all about with the hit piece on her. Definitely worth it. It made the points. It definitely made the points of just what she has been up to over these years and everything. And so it's a developing story, continuing, and she's not the only one, but she is sort of interesting. We saw let's just go to it here. Just go to it. Let me see if I can get in there actually, because I'm not logged in. Let's see. Oh, we're fine. We're fine. We're in here. Here we go. Oh, they're so upset about the I'd skip. Oh, this is, and so so we don't even think she's writing her own posts. We're not even, because it's clear that that we have found sometimes when she doesn't write her own posts. So you can see here, anyway, she's super upset about this whole thing. I'd skip this until morning. I'm heartbroken over the White House. I mean, it's like, and this one where she talks about the rally, or she talks about the protests, and then it's like, oh, save this one till tomorrow. It's like, but if the protests were so impactful, oh, I'd skip this one until tomorrow. Smiley face. I just don't know if that's her even writing it also, but at the same time, if it was so great, why would you tell your audience to skip it until the next morning? Anyway, so there was a sign about I'll stop fighting when Heather Cox Richardson says it's fine. I wish I could find it here. That's like, oh, here it is. It's like, what is happening, y'all? I'll stop fighting when Heather Cox Richardson says we're fine. I love how there's a period too. Like, it's a full sentence. Like, it's basically the copy and paste. This is so classic. This is, if you look for it too, it looks like it was printed, right? Like it was in print, like typing and printed out and pasted on, which is exactly what she does, the copy and paste and the period. Okay. Let me go to one more thing here. I think we're... This is a list of the people who participated in the No King's Partners. So this is the financials that were released, and you can see. So that's why this whole list of, right. The financiers: Arabella, 79 million, Warren Buffett, 16 million, Ford, 51 million, Rockefeller, 26 million, Soros, 72 million, Tides, 45 million, 294 million. Okay, so when Trump is talking about these organizations and he's talking about a RICO chart with George Soros, now he did say something. Let's see if we can find it here, and then we will wrap it up there. We will close it for the day. I thought it was here, but it's not here, so we'll just play the audio of it, okay? Here, let's play the audio of Chris DeGaulle first, and then we'll play the audio of Trump, and then we'll say see you next time.
Hey there, hope your weekend's going well. I'm in California getting ready for a big event with AM 870 and my friends at The Answer here in the greater Los Angeles, what do they call this, Inland Empire? I'm still learning the lingo. I'm in Anaheim, actually. Beautiful place. I can see why people love it. Gorgeous night, just finished some dinner, and I've been watching all of this No King stuff, and I know everything that has been said or can be said about it has already been said, so I really don't have anything particularly profound to offer, other than I was just thinking a lot about these people taking their beautiful Saturday, which it was here, to protest a king. And of course, as you know, and as all the memes have stated, and as we've all lived, if anybody went through lockdowns the way my community did, the way my family did, which caused us to leave our home, leave our kids' schools, which caused neighbor to turn on neighbor, which caused our church to be shut down, which nearly cost me and did cost many millions of Americans their jobs because they wouldn't take a shot. There's so many things about the left. They love tyrants. They actually love kings. And they know perfectly well that Donald Trump and Republicans, by and large, aren't interested in ruling over you, aren't interested in controlling your life. In fact, quite the opposite. They want to deregulate, give you back more of your own money, control crime, provide for the common defense, and basically butt out of your life. Never tell you what kind of medicine to take. Never tell you you've got to wear something on your face. Never tell you that your daughter must shower and change with a male in a locker room and compete against a male, even though you know it's not a female. They call him a female anyway. These are things tyrants of the left want to do. So on this No King's Day, what really it is, it's not that they don't like kings, as you understand. They love kings and they love tyrants. They just want kings and tyrants that make people like you and me go away. They want us to live under their rule. So as long as there are 80 million Americans that don't behave the way they want you to behave, oh, they want a king. They just want their king.
And there you have it there. The video that I wanted to play, and I guess I'm not so sure that I have it here. Oh, yep.
Hey there, hope your weekend's good.
We're gonna have to buy some music for having rights to music. One more thing. If anybody has any thoughts on the No Kings rally protest, if you were there, please feel free to share your experience. If you know anybody or if you have anything to say about it, please feel free to share in the comments. And we can share it on the next show. Okay, here's the last thing we're going to share, then we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for hanging tight.
All the brand new signs paid for. I think it's a joke. I looked at the people. They're not representative of this country. And I looked at all the brand new signs paid for, I guess it was paid for by Soros and other radical left lunatics. It looks like it was. We're checking it out. The demonstrations were very small, very ineffective, and the people were whacked out. When you look at those people, those are not representative of the people of our country.
Mr. President, besides San Francisco...
By the way, I'm not a king. I'm not a king. I work my ass off to make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all.
Protest over the weekend, the No Kings protests.
I think it's a...
Well, and there you have it. So he has said that he, is looking into, because he had talked about this before, about the RICO chart with George Soros, and looking into these organizations that are funding, not just Antifa, but I think that the time has come where enough people are aware about how these things work. And it's also about transparency and about being able to have public discourse and, just like who's doing what, it's just breaking up these old guard systems and building trust back up in our institutions. Like that's part of America First, and it's part of MAGA. Spoiler, hate to break it to you, like it or not, but it's about building trust back up in institutions. Okay. Trump won the popular vote, and most people, this is where most people are at. Okay. They have the big data analytics. They know where people are at. Like I said, this is Agenda 47. Everybody knows what needs to be done. And you're going to have these people that are promoting these ideas and these concepts and just confusing people. And so that's what we're looking at and just following and tracking to see where the big lie goes, right? But then also how these are playing out. And a lot of these things are obviously above my pay grade when it comes to, well, if I'm looking at this, pretty sure other people that do this for a living are too. So I just love being able to have the opportunity to share and to be able to create content and connect with other people who have very brilliant ideas and thoughts and just generous hearts and wanting to do good, right? And wanting to do better and wanting to see better and wanting something better for us, but also taking advantage of this moment that so many before us walked before us, right? So it's like, I understand too where, folks are coming from when they see the present moment. And I just would love to express to them that it's not to have the fear that it's okay and it's going to be okay. Okay. And God is with us, and he has a plan, and his plan is far greater than all of ours, than to have faith and trust in him. But just this building back up trust in institutions, that is what democracy looks like. Right. And that whether we, our democracy certainly is fragile. But it means different things to different people, and they're using these words as different things, and I would, that's why people went to January 6th, is to preserve democracy and to do their, that this is over everybody's head. It's because they've been so conditioned to believe something about J6 that, by law, the legislators had 10 days. They had the opportunity to say, we're going to wait 10 days. We're going to spend 10 days and we're going to look at all the information, all the affidavits and all the testimonies of all the anomalies. They had that opportunity to do that, and they did not do that. And that's why people went to the Capitol, is because they wanted to support President Trump, and they wanted to support what everybody had just seen and saw and gone through. The hearings in November. I mean, we were all there, so the moment for everybody this moment that people feel as though they are experiencing, we all understand what that moment feels like. And a lot of people invested their entire lives. Some people lost their lives. They were debanked. They were deplatformed. They were sanctioned. They were threatened. They were persecuted with lawfare. So it's sort of strange to see the narrative go this way when even just like my friend who posted on Facebook, like, I don't support Trump, but like, why are we being gaslit into forgetting, everything that we had just gone through? So I would just say that MAGA definitely understands that. And I do think that people were misled about what happened, I think on, what the protests were about. Just the support for a political solution. That's what they were protesting for, right? So they care very much about democracy, and they care very much about the republic, and not wanting to, we agree on so many things, but there's been this effort to convince us that we don't see eye to eye. And I think in obviously some cases people don't obviously see eye to eye, but I think that we can certainly coalesce around the things that we agree on. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.